Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Brahma Miras Triparan Takare. Banu Shashi Bamisito. Buddha Shah Guru Shah Shukra. Shani Rahu Keteva. Sarve Graha Shantikara Bhavantu. Om. Om Hrim Shukraya Namaha. And greetings. Welcome to another episode of Cosmic Kev 100. This is your weekly video astrozine, where we take the planets, the signs of the zodiac, and the houses, and we try to make some kind of sense of them. Now, this is starting with May 31st, 2024. So this will be like we're getting into the first week of June. And just seeing what's going on here. First of all, let's put the moon in its appropriate position here, because it is no longer there. It should be in Pisces. So, okay, here we go. And indeed it is. Okay, so moon is in Pisces until 8:28 p.m. So that's sunset here in Chico at the Pacific Standard Time. It'll be moving over into Aries. That's where it'll be for the weekend. It is in a lunar mansion known as Purva Bhadrapada. So this is in Vedic astrology. It would be in Aquarius, Purva Bhadrapada, and until late afternoon. So it'll be in Pisces in both systems. Purva Bhadrapada is 3/4 Aquarius, 1/4 Pisces in the sidereal zodiac. So it's like in Western astrology, if you're looking for constellations like through your telescope in the sky, they're all going to be 24 degrees backwards from where they are on a Western horoscope. Now, in Vedic astrology, Jyotish, what they do in India is they just settle your sign where it is. So in Vedic astrology, we got a new moon this week, folks, and that new moon is going to be in Taurus, and all these other planets in Vedic astrology will be in Taurus. In Western astrology, we have a new moon in Gemini, and so all these planets are going to be in Gemini. And just in case you're curious about what they are, I did, somebody said, why don't you show a Vedic chart? And so I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but this is a North Indian chart. And this corner here, that's the Rashi chart, that's the main chart. And the top is actually the first house. So you see we've got Sun, Moon, Venus, Mercury, all in the first house, with Jupiter too. So that's a lot. And that's also known as a Saraswati constellation, when you have Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter all together like that. So Saraswati's the goddess about learning, education, spirituality. And so we're in this place where she doesn't need a consort necessarily. She's happy to just play her instrument, like that lute there in that picture. And she at times does have a consort for her, but it's about spiritual growth, and it's about being happy, just praising God. We're all, the thing is, we're all under the divine Godhead, and there's God's spirit in every living thing, plants, animals, ourselves. That's why I like astrology, to kind of help reveal soul purpose. And that's it. And so, first of all, we'll talk about Friday's moon, Purva Bhadrapada. It is in Vedic astrology, that's the front end of the funeral pyre. And it can be symbolized by a sword, it can be symbolized by a guise of Shiva known as a Jakapada. sometimes referred to as the one-footed goat, sometimes it's the dancing Shiva, and it is this place where we're about to let go of all worldly concerns and maybe even fight for a cause. It's a Jupiter-ruled nakshatra. Now, as far as this new moon going on the 6th of June, Thursday, it happens real early, like at 5:38 a.m., right at sunrise. It is, that's where, the moon will be in Rohini along with the sun, and Rohini is the most beautiful of all the nakshatras. She literally means red. She invokes passion, all the worldly pleasurable things, having a nice car, having perfumes and good fruit and food, and she's got a small waist and a pretty face and all these things. Why is that important? Well, small waist indicates a woman's not pregnant. Okay, so that's why for, the male of the species, that's like a sign, wow, I have a chance, to be reproductively successful. And as much as we're in a modern world with birth control and everything, and that's not the only reason, there's gay people and they're attracted to the same sex, so reproductive pleasure isn't on necessarily the same kind of biological scale. I think that's safe to say. I know that we're in a world right now that wants to change biology. Tell you, even with dams, whenever we fight nature, we start causing problems for ourselves, even though it's useful at times. We have to come back in balance. And Uttara Bhadra, we're going in this funeral pyre. We're on this waning moon cycle this week. So this week is about kind of letting go. And in Western astrology, of course, the sun's in Gemini. And Gemini is about communication. Gemini is about the twins and about owning up to our shadow side. You see, Mercury as a planet, one side is always facing the sun, it's always hot. The other side is always dark and it's always cold. And so the mythology in Greek on Western astrology, Gemini, is Castor and Pollux were twins. One of them had bad behavior and got sent down to Hades. The other brother missed them and said, hey, can't I go and see my brother? And they said, well, Castor, you're good, and you haven't done the things that this other brother's done, so we'll let you go to Hades and visit him and come back. So, there you go, Gemini, the sign that's gone to hell and back. All right. So we're going to go sign by sign now, really relatively quickly, starting with you, Aries. So Aries, this is a big deal week for you because not only is Mars in your first house, but it goes into the sidereal first house. So if you're an Aries born after the 13th of April, chances are pretty good that you are Aries in both systems, both Vedic and Western astrology. And so Mars, for you later Aries, born between the 13th and the 19th, this week you get charged up. This week you're going to really feel it. For you Aries born earlier, it's like you kind of have to watch your mouth, that you're not too aggressive with your speech with other people and not blow it that way, And so that's part of your horoscope this week, is just kind of keep everything on the DL. And, Gemini as a sign is a third house ruler. And the third house is like the library, but it's also like our brothers and sisters, our siblings, even cousins, people we grew up with. And a lot of it's what goes on from like junior high through college years, basically 14 to 21 maybe, some would say 12, as early as 12, but it's about curiosity and it's about maturity and getting through adolescence and collecting a lot of information, working with your hands, being creative, doing artwork and poetry, songwriting, all these things are third house. Boy, that was a mouthful. Greetings, Taurus. Welcome to your horoscope. Okay, so Gemini rules your second house. So this is the house of wealth. It's also the house of values. This is the house where we see family and family issues. This is where issues that happen between 7 and 14 come up. This is where self-image is. It's also like getting dental work done, having work done on your lower face, on your neck, health issues regarding those parts of your body, but ultimately it is about money and finances. So, I mean, in some ways for Taurus, Gemini is not that different from Taurus because the sun's in the second house, so it's like a Taurus kind of house. So it's not, they are definitely different. And my own say, Gemini's a little more cut loose, and can be intellectually curious to areas that are forbidden, forbidden subjects. Like there's a publishing company called Forbidden Fruit Publishing. I love that name. And there's a lot of websites now that are like, okay, this is the knowledge they don't want you to know. And I get it. And that's probably, a lot of times, that's a knowledge you should know that would help you. I don't want to give anybody any shoulds, but investigate. I have a dear Taurus friend, and he is completely sold on the two-party system and just thinks like, the Democrats cannot do any wrong. He does not that bad. He's not quite that bad, but he has this kind of I think it's like a non-critical thinking alliance with him. And what he does is he goes to like websites that say, oh, this group is right-wing Christian, so I'm dismissing them. And it's like, you haven't even investigated, listened to what they're saying before so it's kind of like, that's where we are in the world. And I'm sure, people on the right will do the same thing. They're like, oh, well, they're really to the left, and we can just dismiss them completely. And the thing is, we got to come together, people. We all got to work with each other. Isn't that what Gemini season is all about? Seeing the other side of the story. Speaking of that, greetings, Gemini. Welcome to your horoscope, and welcome to this opportunity to work together and celebrating you. I want to give a birthday shout out to Maura Kehoe, who's having a birthday this week, and to my friend Colin Wiley, who's also having a birthday this week, and to Darby McConnell, who's having a birthday this week, and just big up shouts to all my Gemini friends. My favorite poet, Allen Ginsberg's birthday would be June 3rd, and one of my favorite soul singer writers, Curtis Mayfield, is also June 3rd. So yeah, Mercury's in your first house, it's going in your first house. Communication should get better. And Sun and Uranus are, well, Uranus is in Taurus still, but Sun and Venus are together. So is Jupiter. So, like I said, that Saraswati constellation, find a way to give to others, find a way to cultivate a spiritual life that is good for you. We are going to Cancer. Greetings, Cancer. Welcome to your horoscope. Okay, so Cancer, you got a lot of responsibility. There's a lot on your plate. And there could be some losses. Nobody wants to hear that. This is the time to go on a vacation to the wilderness, turn off the cell phones, all those things. And, maybe just bring with you a Bible, a Bhagavad Gita, some spiritual book that's really uplifting, and just tune in to the higher sense, the higher knowledge of God. That's really what needs to happen right now. And that's going to ultimately uplift you and help you get on your game. But in the meantime, until June 21st, when your season begins, it's more of a time to lay low, try not to make any waves, and just harvest on all the things you've done in the past year. Work on what you've done already. Don't take on anything new. But your spiritual life, if you do get to that place, because it's all in the 12th house, you're going to just excel. You're going to see God. Greetings, Leo. Welcome to your horoscope. I mean, You know, Gemini time for you is about parties, it's about socializing, it's about get-togethers. So that's what's more likely to happen right now, and they could be for a spiritual purpose because of this Saraswati constellation of Jupiter, Mercury, and Venus. So there's this upliftment, you know, in your social life, among your friends, among older siblings, among people at work that have helped you, maybe your higher ups that want to help lift you up and put you in a better place. All of this is activated. So, you know, Moon in Pisces today works great for you. That's, I mean, going into Aries over the weekend, so it's like, you know, it's a good weekend for travel for Leo. It's a good weekend for furthering your own spiritual discovery. And greetings, Virgo. Welcome to your horoscope. So Virgo is the other Mercury-ruled sign. And Virgo is, I think, a little more oriented towards the microcosm, whereas Gemini is kind of the macrocosm. But Virgo is also more practical than Gemini. And Gemini time for Virgo is career and work and putting yourself out there. And so there's all this work for you right now, and you have to keep up. You got to keep on your game. That's the Virgo thing. It's keep on your game and realize that you can create a more enlightened spiritual atmosphere in the workplace, because that's the kind of person you are. And that means kindness, gifts to other people, compliments, staying away from negativity and criticism, showing up and filling in the gaps. Greetings, Libra, and welcome to your horoscope. Now look at this. The constellation's in your 9th house. That's another ashram spiritual house. It's also a very lucky house. And more good fortune is going to be bestowed upon you. More blessings are going to come down on you. You are going to succeed. You're going to excel. Good things are coming your way. Many blessings. And I want you to just take advantage of that. You know, start the day with a little spiritual practice. You know, some appealing to the Godhead. You know, just go and challenging your belief system, allowing yourself to go further, taking on, you know, it's that experience, you know, invite Jesus in your heart, you know, say, hey, if you bore all my sins and you're forgiving me, and all you're asking me to do is forgive everybody else and feed these people, help these people, I'm willing to do that. So that's a good place to be. And relationship stuff, I mean, it could get a little bit dicey. It could get a little bit intense. But you're ready for this. You're ready to move forward. Greetings, Scorpio. Welcome to your horoscope. So, I mean, Gemini time for you is transformation. It's 8th house. So it's almost like, oh my God, just how I said the 2nd house makes Gemini season kind of like a Taurus season for Tauruses. Well, the 8th house makes Gemini season kind of like a Scorpio season for Scorpios. And yeah, I mean, you know, I guess for the male of the Scorpio species, that generally if you're in the northern latitudes, there's less clothes on the females at this time of year. And so there is some amount of revealing of our primal animal self. But beyond that, there's this mystery. You know, 8th house is death, sex, birth, other people's property, and occult studies, things like astrology. So you can become a good astrologer, a good tarot reader, a good prayer, somebody who prays for other people. I really think that a lot of times the power of prayer is completely underestimated in our culture. And famous astrologer Elizabeth Hinkey, she would have prayer meetings and pray for her clients. Say, okay, this is what you're going through. Let's lift up this person in prayer. It's so beautiful. And so let's lift each other up in prayer. Okay. Greetings, Sagittarius. I mean, for you, this is about a spiritual partnership. This is about also making your workplace a more spiritual place to be in. Relationships, the marriage. I mean, if we said the marriage, you know, 7th house is like marriage. Well, you're married to Jupiter and Venus. I mean, Jupiter is important in a woman's chart in the 7th house. Venus is important in a man's house, in a man's 7th house. chart, and Mercury's there, so communication should be good. The sun's there, you got your heart into it. Peacemaking, negotiating, love making, all the beautiful things, art making, all of this should be done. And focus on partnership a lot. Well, greetings Capricorn, and welcome to your horoscope. So Saturn's in Pisces, along with the moon. So, you know, if you felt like a little, oh, I feel like just a little bit down, like I'm emotionally depressed, am I going to be able to get through this? You know, that's kind of natural when the moon and Saturn get together. There's a little bit of humility, and it could be humiliating, and it could be depressing, and it could be embarrassing. But the thing is, he also wants you to work hard. Just keep going. You know, I know it's a little bit tough for you today, but just keep moving. And sometimes that's the keep moving forward thing. You know, you got to climb the mountain. And there's a lot of challenges because it's a sixth house. And sixth house is sometimes obstacles. It's our workplace in the sense of coworkers, if you work with other people, if you don't work alone. And it's also health issues too that might be a little bit chronic. Where I live, there's a lot of agriculture and a lot of trees, a lot of pollen. A lot of people in this area end up getting allergies and stuff. And so there's remedies for that, like taking nettles and quercetin, upping your vitamin C, and avoiding allergens. Number one would be wheat. Number two is dairy, unless it's raw or cultured, and then avoiding even other grains like corn, and definitely sugar. I mean, sugar can mess up everything, cause inflammation. And seed oils. Oh, for God's sake. Why does the FDA allow seed oils? They're so bad for you, and yet they're in so many foods. Almost every processed packaged food has them. Almost every restaurant uses them. It's horrible. It's horrible. We need to stop this madness. Greetings Aquarius, and welcome to your horoscope. You know, Saturn is in your second house, so you're dealing with finances and you're trying to find what the limits are. I mean, this is a time where you might own a little talisman or something that makes you feel good. You know, some people wear a cross, some people wear a Star of David, some people wear a crystal, some people wear malas or rosary beads. I mean, anything that brings you closer to that divine Christ consciousness, that you know, where you're really, but it's not just Christ consciousness, it's Christ in your heart. You know, if you don't have it in your heart, what goes on here is nonsense. You know, if it's in your heart, you're emotionally more oriented towards doing it and follow through. And so you're dealing with values, you know, but you're also, it's a pretty good time because Gemini rules the fifth house, and it's a lot of fun. If you have children, you should be loving them. It's a good time for travel. It's just a good time for your creative expression. I mean, for Aquarius, I'd say your game just got upped. And greetings Pisces, and welcome to your horoscope. Much love to you. I mean, Gemini time is a time where you're perhaps a little more introspective, a little more inclined to stay at home. It rules the fourth house. Issues involving your parents, your mother, your father, your older relatives, grandparents, they're much more likely to come up during this period and this season. Also fixed assets, like what are you working on? And since you're a Jupiter ruled sign, and Jupiter's there in the fourth house, this could be a time where you're expanding your house or maybe putting an addition on. This could also be a time where you're looking to move and you're in a new community. Maybe you're in a spiritual community that supports you, and you feel the sense of place. And this is the beginning, you know, this is the beginning of the road of like relating to others a little deeper. And it's time for the good friends, the deep friends, not the fair weather friends, not the friends that are like, hey, you know, it's like the ones that are there when you're down. Those are the, you know, and you don't, I'll tell you what, most people don't like to be around other people that are down, you know. You know, that's why I say thank God for Jesus, thank God for Buddha, thank God for people that made an effort to heal and help those that weren't doing so well. You know, that Kuan Yin kind of vibration. That's where we need to go with this. World's in a lot of hurt right now, folks. And, you know, you're out there, you know, in the godly light and purpose is to forgive sins, heal people, help people out. Be grateful for what you have. Don't ask for more than what you need. And create a life where you have what you need and a little extra to share. And a lot of bliss. And that's about it for today. Hit the bell notification. Please subscribe. Don't forget to share. You are awesome, all of you. And yes, the Ethiopian Coptic Church is related to the Armenian Orthodox. All the Orthodox churches have some commonality in them, and I appreciate your comments, your thanks, your appreciation. Everything good that we have is really due to grace. And so let's not be proud and all caught up in ourselves, lest anyone should boast. Look forward to being with you next week when we do this again. Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat.